everybody! I'm still not feeling top-notch, but we're gonna roll with it. It's the middle of August, which means school is starting soon if it hasn't already started for you, and I thought I would give you just a few back-to-school tips that I wish I had known earlier in my school career. Tip number 1, find a planner that works for you. Whether it's just like making a list of assignments that are due or writing out your schedule. This is my bullet journal. This is where I put my school schedule. I have an area where I have all of the things that I need to get done. I limit myself to 3 bullet points a day, mostly because otherwise I get overwhelmed. Like I still have to go to school, I still have to go to work, but after that it's like just 3 smaller things that I have to do, and then I have this section on the bottom for all of my assignments so that I can make sure that I get them done. And then on this side I have blocked out my actual schedule with what videos I'm uploading and then what I'm doing that week. So this works for me. This would have worked for me in high school or middle school when I had a ready-made planner. Like this is a bullet, I can design this the way I want to, which is why I think it helps me so much more than the ready-made planners that the school would provide or that I would get at Staples. So I really highly suggest finding a system that works for you, because the ready-made planners don't work for everybody. Next, I know this sounds really stupid, but if you find stationery that you really like, it makes taking notes so much more fun and makes it into something that you want to do. I love Pilot G2 gel pens. I have them in the 0.38, the 0.5, and the 0.7. The different thicknesses give me different ways of labeling. I use the 0.7 for titles, the 0.5 for subtitles, and then this for general note-taking. I feel like it really helps. I like the way these write, and I'm more likely to use them when I like them. I also use the mild liners. This is I'm gonna call it the teal pack. It has a blue, a teal, a yellow, green, an orange, and a pink. What I like about these is they don't give me headaches the way that regular highlighters give me. And then they're double-sided, so you have like a highlighter side and then you have a note-taking side. And you can use this to color code things. And then also it makes note-taking really fun. If you need to make a correction, you can have like a color for corrections. I normally use the lime green for corrections because if I write with that, I can't really see what I've written. So I use it to mark things that I've gotten wrong, and then I use a different pen, like my G2, to write the actual correction. But color coding, finding highlighters that work for you. I think highlighters are great tools. If you're not into highlighters, pens that are different colors also work. Colors help focus your mind. If you use one color for one subject and a different color for a different subject, then it helps focus your notes onto what subject you're revising or taking notes on. So I highly suggest that. When using textbooks or regular books, taking notes on the book is frowned upon. Also, I hate writing in books, especially books that I've bought that I'm not returning. I just don't like writing in them. So what I use instead are Post-it notes. These are the little flags. I use these to mark ideas or pages that I want to focus on. And if I want to add input, I use Post-its that have the lines on them, so I can write out my idea and then put it on the page. And then if you color code the ideas, when you're making an essay or an argument, you can use the different colors for the different ideas and the different notes that you took. Just take them all out of the book, write the page number down so that if you need a quote, you can go back and find it. And I organize it that way so that when I'm writing out my essay, I have all of these ideas and I make an outline with these ideas that I took while reading, and then putting it together in an essay is so much easier. So highly suggest Post-its or index cards. You can make it as fun or as simple as you want, but instead of writing in your book, I prefer this because I can take it out, I can move it around, and then I'm not damaging my book in any way. So if you're renting a book, you can give it back. And then finally, when taking notes, find a way of taking notes that works for you. The way I do it is I have a single notebook, but then I have multiple binders. So I just take notes just randomly in the notebook, and then once a week I will go through all of my notes because these are all different things. This is my English homework for over the summer. This is future tense verbs in Korean. This is different words to use instead of gunyo for she, because that's not really natural. This is a rough draft for an essay. This is a rough draft for a different essay. These are just random brain notes that I vomited out. So By doing that, you have it all in one spot. You can use little tags to say where you are or where things are important, and then every week you just take the papers out of your notebook and you put it in the binder. So that way, when you're taking notes for the week in class, you have it all in one place, but then when you're going to study, it's all organized for you. That's what works for me. So just find a way of taking notes that works for you. Cornell notes work for some people, where you cut the page into 1/3 and then 2/3, and you write the topic and then you write all of the different things. But if your professor or your teacher in the lecture is going back and forth in between topics, that really doesn't work. So I just sort of write everything down. You can use like a notebook, or you can use a computer. I would highly suggest writing things down physically though, because then you retain more of that knowledge. And then I guess I said finally there, but bonus, come up with a schedule, a study schedule that is reasonable and that works for you. So I work about 38 hours a week. I take private lessons for Korean, and I go to ballet, and I film videos. And then I also have 3 classes on top of that, 3 college courses on top of that. So what I do is I write my schedule out with the hours that I am at work, the hours that I am taking extracurricular classes, and then I find the best way of studying around that. What I found works best for me is waking up early in the morning, getting an hour in every single morning, and then on my days off from work, because legally in the United States you're only allowed to work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. Sometimes my company goes against that. Technically I did not say that, otherwise I will be fired. But essentially I will have at least 1 day off, and that's when I get the majority of my work done. I'll also get work done during my lunch hours, if I happen to have a lunch hour that day. Legally you're supposed to have a lunch hour if you work 8 hours or more, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Again, I did not say that. This is me just throwing the company that I work for under the bus. But find a schedule that works for you. For me, it's doing a little bit in the morning, a little bit during my lunch, and then on my day off, doing all of the big things all at once. Which is why this notebook works really well, because during my lunch I can work on like a body paragraph or an intro paragraph, or just get all of my ideas done, and then the next morning before I go to work in my hour study time, I type all of that up and I organize it, and then I do it again the next day. I would also suggest bringing a pencil case, having extra pencils and extra erasers, because when you have a Scantron test you need to have pencils and erasers. I suggest having an external eraser, not just the eraser on the tips of your pencil, because I don't know if you have this problem, but that eraser tends to dry out and then it just smudges everything everywhere. So it's better to have an extra eraser that you know will work. Having extra Scantrons, extra pencils, extra erasers is a really good way of making a little bit extra money, because if you have the extras and someone on test day does not, you can be like, yeah, you can have this for $1. I suggest if your school store sells Scantrons for like $3 or $5, like mine does, sell your Scantrons, because you can get appropriate Scantrons on Amazon. You can get 100 of them for $5. So if you just bring extras and sell your extra for $1, people are gonna come to you to get the Scantrons as opposed to going to the store, because the store is so overpriced. And then like people will start coming to you, you'll make back that $5 for those 100 Scantrons. You can rent out pencils, you can lend out pencils, it doesn't matter, whatever you feel like. But that is what I suggest. Bring extras of everything. If you feel nice, you can just give them away. If you're like me and you're looking to make a profit, you can sell them. But that is what I suggest for back to school. Basically just find an organization system that works for you, and this is what works for me. If you have any other suggestions, leave your tips in the comments below. If you want to see me do anything else, let me know down below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!